Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer. It is time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today, I wanted to talk about Zana's map mods that will be existing in the 3.12 Heist League. I'm not going to go through what every single one of them does. I'm just going to go through the ones that I think are most important. So firstly, if you're playing on day one, Abyss is going to be something to really consider. Abyss will add a couple of packs of monsters, and they're one of those encounters where you chase the crack. But what's important is that if you're running them in tier 16 maps, if you're one of the first people into tier 16 maps, you don't need to be one of the first 200 people up that high. But if you're one of the first few thousand people to get to tier 16 maps, you'll find these really lucrative to run. And that's because early on, you'll be able to sell your Searching Eye Jewels and your Hypnotic Eye Jewels pretty well. You might even find buyers for your Ghastly Eye Jewels and the other one, Murderous Eye. And additionally, your Stygian Vices will sell really well too. Demand for those will get absolutely flooded, though, by a couple of days in. And at that point, I don't think you'll ever want to run Abyss again, unless there is a challenge to do so. Domination adds a couple of shrines to the maps, adds a couple of packs of monsters with them. Not particularly important unless there's a challenge, just because whilst it adds monsters to the map, there are better ways to do that. Bloodlines is going to add magic monsters to a map. The only real reason I would use Bloodlines is early in the league when you are desperate to get a couple of additional maps. So if you're, say, trying to break into 3 Watchstone maps, you've got 4 tier 10 maps, 1 tier 11 and no tier 12s. You might run your tier 11 and throw Bloodlines on it, hoping to see some tier 12 maps drop from it, or at the very least more than 1 tier 11 replacement. That's about the only time I'd use Bloodlines in this league, though. Nemesis will add a few rare monsters onto the map. That's not the reason you use it. The main reason you use it is that it makes it possible to either Scour Chance a Headhunter, or to Ancient Orb a Headhunter, or even to have a Headhunter drop as natural loot, although that is still at least as rare as having a Chevron's Wrappings drop, and as a result, most people don't run large numbers of maps with the Nemesis mod. Nemesis is pretty lucrative, just because of that potential to Scour Chance the Headhunter. And what I would suggest you do is that as a result of this mod existing, you pay particular attention to any drops of leather belts that are influenced. Influenced leather belts will sell because of Nemesis, partly because people want to Scour Chance onto a bling base. So if they get a Shaper one or an Elder one, and they're able to Scour Chance it into a Headhunter, it'll just look cooler. But more importantly, the Shaper ones have incredible synergy with the Eternity Shroud. Beyond is something that lots of you probably already know about if you've run a lot of maps for XP in the past and tried to push level 100. Beyond adds additional monsters to a map. It does so better than any of the earlier mods, and as a result, it's something that you really want to keep in mind. Beyond has ridiculous synergy with Headhunter. That's because it adds a lot of rare monsters specifically to a map, and rare monsters all have mods that you can steal for Headhunter, which then makes you kill those rare monsters faster. And just by increasing the density of rare monsters on the map by a lot, it will tremendously speed your clearing of the map while also flooding you with loot and giving you more XP. That's the main uses of Beyond. It synergizes best with maps that have been rolled to also have the Beyond mod on them. Next up, we have Blight returning to the map device for 8 Chaos. Blight encounters are definitely worth running for 8 Chaos on the highest tiers of maps early in the league. I don't think that they'll hold out for very long, mainly because Delirium is just better, even at double the cost. Finally, we have Delirium. Delirium was the league that added the most loot to the game, and it's still going to be exactly that, even when you're paying 16 Chaos for it. Don't use Delirium on low tier maps from the map device. You want to be using this on very carefully chosen maps at endgame. You want to be doing it onto maps that have a high longest path through them. So things like Tropical Island that you can run from one end to the other pretty much without stopping. Things like the Promenade map, really good tile sets for Delirium. Delirium encounters are hard. You'll need a very powerful character to take them on. But if you do manage to get that, you'll be rewarded with enormous amounts of loot. 16 Chaos is a lot, And I think that this is going to drain Chaos Orbs out of the economy in a way we've never really seen before. There will be players who decide, okay, you know what, I'm going to run 50 maps in a row, all with Delirium. Bang, 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 bang. And because these will be the most experienced and the fastest players of the game, those players will be the ones that are still running 20 maps an hour or more whilst using this Delirium mod. As a result, those players can easily chew through 300 or 400 Chaos Orbs in an hour, removing them from the economy, and therefore changing the exchange rates of currency within the game quite a bit. I think that this will be the league in which Chaos Orbs have the most enduring value that they've had for a long time. That's not to say that they'll stay at the 1/30th of an Exalt range that they'll be at the start of the league, just that they will hold some value towards the middle of the league as well. Finally, the other thing of note with Delirium is that it being available through the map device will mean that there is going to be a lot of more Delirium Orbs available than there were in the Harvest League. And so for people that are looking to run delirious maps, that should be more possible, and you won't be as pushed into using Fractured Fossils to do so. Though I do think that Fractured Fossils will still remain a popular way. Anyway, that's all I've really got to say, except to say that I think that Fortune Favours the Brave is both better than it's been in the past and a little bit of a trap still. It's better value in the sense that you get a 1 in 7 chance of getting a 16 Chaos mod, a 1 in 7 chance of getting an 8 Chaos mod. The average is certainly more than 3. But one of the key things about Zana mods is that you can choose them carefully to synergize with the mods that are on the map, with the tile set. You would be quite disappointed if you were running an estuary map, it was a nice 8 mod map, and you ran Fortune Favours the Brave, and then unfortunately you get the Delirium encounter on it. Had you known you were going to be getting the Delirium encounter, instead of running your estuary, you would have run a Promenade instead. That's going to happen a lot. You want, likewise, you'll get maps where you have Beyond already on the map, and you fail to roll Beyond. Instead, you roll Bloodlines, or maybe even you roll Blight, and you're like, you know what, this isn't what I was looking for. So Fortune Favours the Brave is unfortunately still a trap. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you've got any comments or questions, fire away below. Otherwise, I hope you have a good one.